Hi, everybody out there in TV land. We're here today with an artist that I've known for some time now that I've worked with on a couple of different projects. His name is Jolt, and we're just going to sit down and talk a little bit today about what he's up to and tell you guys about some of the work that you can actually go see from him right now, even though most all museums, our museum specifically, is not open. Jay, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself to everybody?
So my name is Jolt from the Gorilla Garden Studios. I am a North Denver native, international artist based in Denver still. Uh, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and you're obviously a graffiti artist primarily. You did have stuff in our gallery that was on panel also. You don't just exclusively work on walls. You're really varied in your style and your approach. And for any of you listening who got to see his show while it was in our building, it was really amazing. He actually did murals right in gallery, right on our walls, two 12-foot by 24-foot murals that were really incredible. And then we had a bunch of stuff from you also that was on panel to kind of supplement it. And then we had some larger pieces too. Do we have canvas work also from you?
Yeah, there was large scale canvas work. There was various panels. I showed over 200 photos
Oh
of,
yeah, that too. That was awesome.
and then
Yeah,
I produced a film, a little mini documentary as well.
right. We had that interview that people that yeah, that was I remember it because of how much we had to struggle with the button that would get people to play it. Like
Yeah,
as the person who installs the show, that's the thing that sticks out of my mind.
I try to, as far as my work goes, you know, I still do graffiti in its truest form, but I also do large scale public art. I do fine art. I produce film. I am a designer, and I do creative consulting and
Yeah,
curating. So it's across the board, a lot of different
right.
things.
You curate. Do you curate Artopia yearly or is that on and off?
I did it for the last 4 years, and that was it. That was the end of the party. The last one I did was our most successful, but that was the last Artopia.
Oh, or
Uh,
they're not going to be doing it anymore.
they're not
This
going
is
to
a
be doing it
Westward.
anymore because Westward is like trying to push some other projects as well.
Gotcha.
Um, so and as far as events go, there's nothing to curate right now
No.
unless it's through
You're telling me, man.
yeah.
Everything's like digital shows and stuff. I've got pushing everything back, trying to figure out when things are going to get to open. And we even talked about just installing shows in our building just to have them so that I could then do video tours of at least a physical show rather than just putting the digital images online and calling
Yep.
that like an online gallery. At least you could feel like you're in the space walking through. But since the frame shops are closed, people are having a hard time. We have a juried show, they're waiting to see if they're in it, then they're in, and then they can't go get their work framed. So
Man,
regardless, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've been struggling even to find canvas or to
Oh,
get
really?
it. Yeah, like locally, I've had a hard time getting the materials that I even want to work on it. I've been able to order like a few things, but it's really pushed me to just kind of use everything in the studio.
Yeah.
Anything that I've had laying around has now turned into a canvas and has been put to use.
That's beautiful. That's like the spirit of improvisation
I
is,
taught a
it's
class
in everybody right
yesterday.
now.
I taught a class online via Zoom at a Metro
Oh,
class.
that's cool.
Yeah, so I was able to teach a college course on gentrification, which was
Okay.
interesting to be able to communicate with people and connect to people that way. And then I've been working with Warm Cookies of the Revolution,
Oh yeah.
Buntport Theater, all those folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent you that video beforehand. I don't know if you've seen it with my daughter dancing and I'm painting the
Yeah.
sunset.
The resolution was like phone resolution, so when I watched it on my computer, it was pretty fuzzy, but it looked really adorable. And there's that I saw the same painting is behind you, right? To your right
Yeah.
hand side is
Mhm.
it's a sunset.
Excuse me.
So what's the context for that?
The idea was just to give people something nice to look at, give people some sort of hope.
Mm-hmm.
Just the idea of like creating your own sunshine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very simple, very simple, but I felt like it had a lot of power to it as well.
Yeah, that looked really good. That looked really cool. It was something a little bit outside of your wheelhouse in terms of the aesthetic, but you rendered
Yeah.
it really well. Can you turn that, because I don't have a still image of that to show everybody. Can you just turn your
So
camera and give
I can show
everybody
you
a
right
look?
here.
Oh, we got,
Oh, here I'd have to. You know what? Here, stay right there.
we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I can. Actually. So I just finished this painting.
Oh, I have a picture of that one. That one I can show everybody in a second.
I just painted that this week. That's on its way to San Diego. This piece here is on its way to New York. Um, there you go. Maybe people can see it a little bit better now.
Oh yeah, that's great.
It's something pleasant to look at, since we're
Yeah.
up inside.
Oh my gosh, it's so big too. What is that, 10 feet square?
Oh, you know
Or
what?
maybe taller. Holy moly.
12 tall. It's 12 tall. I'm not sure the length. I've actually never measured my walls in the studio.
Really cool. That's
So
really
then it'll
cool.
be used as a backdrop for a photo shoot tonight, and then I'll use my wife as my model um, for some photos that I want to do. So we're just using what we have and what's available, and just trying to create and just make the most of our time.
That's awesome. I
I
think
live this
that's
life anyways.
right.
A lot of people have said that, but I just stay in the studio more often than not.
Hmm.
The fact that I live next door, convenient.
Yeah, I know a lot of artists have been struggling with finding a place to work if they don't have studio space at home, or some artists kind of trying to, like, they had just found studio space outside of their home, and now because of economic situations, they're back in their homes again and working in a spare bedroom or kitchen table, or it's just all about trying to make the best of it, right? Like everything's on pause, but everybody's still alive, so you got to do what you can.
Yeah, I'm excited to come out of this. I've been creating like so many drawings for murals that are just ideas at this point. I had a lot of work. I had months of work get canceled. I had a few
Oof.
really large scale projects
Yeah.
that were in the design phase but not under contract.
Hmm.
Uh, and art is
And they
is
just
definitely not a priority at this
nixed
time.
it. No.
Yeah.
Let's pull up a picture of one of the large scale pieces you did here. Now we can even zoom in. I actually heard about this from my wife because she works, in affordable housing.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, and this is the what is it? What was this called? She just told me.
The
Elizabetta?
Alspieta?
Elizabetta?
Yeah, Alspieta. It's a development that is being built for affordable housing in the Globeville community, which is the oldest neighborhood in Denver. I'm from that neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it is it's a part of Laridan Hall, which is a very old establishment that has been in Globeville, been in Denver for a long time. Laridan Hall is the first of its kind, first school of its kind that worked with people with disabilities.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and the story is the family that started it had two sons named Larry and Don. They had mental disabilities, and at that time there was no school system in place or nothing there to educate them. So if you were in that situation where you had special needs, usually the wife just stayed at home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the wife started a school, and that school
Wow.
later on turned into an even bigger school, and then now it's turning into housing. This is affordable housing done right. I've seen a lot of it. I've seen a lot of Denver become gentrified.
Mm-hmm.
More often than not, affordable housing is important right now, especially in the city. Nobody can afford to live in the city of Denver anymore. Um, this is right off the bus route. You can maneuver around the city really easy from this location. There's
Mm-hmm.
even properties built on here that you can buy, and the homes are for like $200,000.
Hey, that's not bad. Knowing what the market is right now, that's pretty reasonable.
Oh yeah, definitely. The houses right across the street from this are probably selling for about 400,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, I met some people, even talked to people that were homeless before becoming residents of this building. People
Oh,
already living
wow.
there. And so I got to speak to them firsthand of how is this development impacting the community? How is my role in it as an artist playing a part in their lives? You know, it's pretty cool, man. It's a good project to be a part of, especially
Yeah.
being that I grew up there. My mom literally lives 2 blocks away from this building.
Tell me a little bit about this the composition here and your inspiration for the composition and what's going on in terms of the references.
So Globeville is an interesting community. Globeville was started around the Globe Smelter, which was built in 1889. It's an Eastern European company named Asarco that built this smelter, and along with that came the people that worked at the smelter who became the first residents of Globeville. Globeville had its annex before Denver did. So Globeville was almost the set it off city for Colorado. Um, so it had all this development, but with that came a lot of like pollution and toxins in the soil, and it became a
Yeah.
neighborhood that was forgotten about in terms of Denver. Like when we lived there back in the day, that was the hood, that was the ghetto, that was a place where people did not want to go to. There was not resources, there wasn't a good school system intact, there wasn't even proper lighting in the streets. So the flowers that you see are representative of that cycle of Globeville, of having these times where it just catered to, you know, families and generations of people starting this life here in America, coming from other places, or even, you know, coming from here. And just this is, in terms of Denver, man, this would be like, you know, starting from the bottom and working your way up, especially
Hmm.
in the hood back in the day. Now it's a different story. But living there back in the day, man, it was definitely like very industrial, and you could smell the smelter. That smelter operated from 1889 until
Hmm.
2015.
Yeah, it's known to be like one of the most heavily polluting industrial practices too,
Yep.
right? That's
They so those the flowers alone, that's what it represents, is that cycle. I like the diversity in the flowers as well.
hmm.
But right smack in the middle is a mestizo face, and that represents the Latino culture of the community. You can go back and talk about how it was a Eastern European community in the
Hmm.
beginning, and you can talk about the history of it. But the last close to 80 years, it's been a Latino community,
Yeah.
such as most of the inner neighborhoods of Denver, with the exception of like down South Federal, which was Latino slash Asian community. You know, a lot
Hmm.
of Cambodian and Vietnamese people.
Yeah, that's
And
where I live.
word. And then East Denver would be more Latinos and Black folks. And then as
Hmm.
you move further east, it's a lot more Black communities. But the West Side, Globeville, North Side, were all heavily Chicano communities. So that mestizo face represents that. When you see the tri face like that,
Uh-huh.
it's representing the Spaniard indigenous person, and then in the center, the modern day Chicano. Um,
Okay.
so it's a part of our evolution of, you know, where we come from and what created the modern day Chicano. The hands are there to represent that blue collar worker, those people that work with their hands, those, you know, the residents of the community. And also it's a masculine and a feminine. It's a celebration of that binary. It's a representation for me of even handing the culture down to my daughter. Um, the water and everything that you see is that nourishment for that culture and for it to be able to grow. So I'm trying to continue the culture that I grew up with, and also celebrate, you know, the things to come, and the diversity that will also come with the growth of Globeville. That mestizo face is one in particular that you find in Emmanuel Martinez's work, who is a legendary muralist, who happens to be from Denver, Colorado. So I'm also paying homage to the elder generation of muralists from this region.
Man, hey, artists out there, if you want to learn how to talk about your artwork in an interview, you listen to this guy because that was
Right on.
that was really succinct and really interesting, man. I love the layers of reference and symbolism, and that's why I knew I had to ask because I knew there'd be a story behind all of the components, right? And this is just such a great composition. And I don't know how often you do this, but I'm thinking about like what I know of your work, and you have a really healthy amount of negative space here. And I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but I'm kind of
Yeah,
lining around the edge here. You've got you almost like you have like this big kind of composition icon subject in the center, and then you don't go full bleed with it like I'm thinking a lot of your works and a lot of your murals. Was there is that something that you've been doing more, or I'm just like not up on what you've been doing, like
I
you have
think
done that a lot in the past.
I think at times with some of the larger projects, you have to take into consideration the building itself, and you got to let it breathe in certain places. I don't want people to simply just look at the piece of artwork, but I want them to look at the building on a whole. And
uh
that was my reasoning, because with some of my design, initially I had it wrap around the corner,
oh
had it
yeah,
just be
yeah, over here.
a square where it took up the whole wall, all the space in the background, and I felt like it just needed a little bit of room to breathe. I didn't want it to be so overpowering, because it is a lot going on, and that's 60 feet tall, so it's a lot. So you have to find a way to approach a lot in a minimal way sometimes, to find a good contrast. And that was my attempt there. I have three murals on that same building. There's one on the opposite side that I sent you a picture of, and then there's one inside. I didn't send you a photo of that one.
uh
Did you?
you didn't send me a photo of the one on the
I sent you one with some yellow flowers, I believe. Maybe I didn't. I'm working on it in the photo.
no, I have is this the one that's inside with these lockers, or this is somewhere else?
Oh, that's a different location. So I think I had maybe you didn't upload it, but I had sent you another one on the other side. It's not a big deal. I created a documentary on this project too, if anybody wanted to check that out.
Oh yeah, can you maybe after you can send me a link to that and we'll include
Yep.
it in the video.
Yeah, for sure.
Um let me see. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
really happy with the documentary. It was created and co-produced by Focus 4, who you guys have worked with, are currently working with, and they're up there in Golden, not so far from the museum.
oh yeah. I would I'd really like to see that. So yeah, so we're getting close to time here in this interview because you're just so great at talking about your artwork, and we filled up the time wonderfully. But the initial inspiration for bringing you on today was to remind everybody about a project that I helped to organize that you did for Golden in Golden called the Wall of Hope, and I believe I have an image of that here. And
Oh yeah.
this is a 600-foot long mural in Golden at Washington and Second that we did in conjunction with a lot of community partners, including Golden High School. And in this time where there isn't too much else you can do outdoors besides take a walk, any of you guys in Golden or in the near area, even if you're in Lakewood or you're in Denver, you want to take a drive over, you can maintain all of our social distancing guidelines and still go and check out this piece. It's long enough for lots of people to look at it once and keep 6 feet apart from each other. You could you could have literally 100 people see it and all maintain social distance. Or you could stand across the road if you're feeling like you really need to get some space. But this was a really excellent piece, a really beautiful project, all about trying to destigmatize mental health issues for especially young people, but generally in our community. And I think there's a lot of there's a lot about this that we could take, as inspiration right now. Given how kind of trying this current pandemic situation is. Um, and I think that a lot of us are. What we talked about when we did this mural was people finding refuge in nature, and I think when you are feeling stir crazy and you're locked in your house with maybe you're alone, or maybe you've got one other or a couple of people, or maybe you have a whole large family and you're homeschooling your kids and you need to get out and you need to get away. I think a lot of people are finding their solace in nature right now. So I think that there is some relevance to this mural, and I just want to encourage everybody who's watching right now, if you can, to go check it out, especially when
You said 600 feet long?
I'm pretty sure, man. It's I think
Yeah.
that was our estimate based on just like looking at Google Maps and kind of
Yeah.
drawing it out. That's the number that's been in my head forever. It could be plus or minus, but yeah.
Yeah, in the photo that people are seeing, you're not even seeing
Oh
20%
no.
of it right here.
Oh yeah, there is. So you guys can make out a word made of these aspen trees. This is one of, I think, 5 or 6 words that are spread out along the entire length of it. Yeah, this is not the entirety of the mural by any means.
The goal is to, again, not take away from the natural environment, um, work with it, be influenced by it, and also, kind of I just wanted simply just to inspire people, just to make people happy. I wanted people when they drove by it to, even if they didn't catch the words that are hidden in the mural, I wanted them to see the animals. I wanted them to see just a reflection of how beautiful that golden is. And I look at those things and I'm like, man, I can't, what can I do to this? There's blue skies, there's mountains, like
Yeah.
there's not a lot I can add here. All I can do is just kind of try to reflect it within my work. It was a really fun piece, and I think that people really do take messages from it. I've gotten feedback from this piece, and people really have connected to it.
Yeah, I do highly encourage you guys to all check it out. I remember talking with you when we were planning it about the background color, and just looking at this photo right here, it feels like it was a good pick because it really does blend into the hillside really well. I know we talked a lot about having different experiences with the piece based on whether or not you were driving or walking by. So if you were getting like an up close view, you might not be able to recognize the words, but there are still lots of details within the mural that people can appreciate. And if you're driving by, then you're seeing it more as like a narrative, like piece by piece in order, depending on which way you're driving by. So there was a lot of different interesting challenges in something in this scale and in this kind of aspect ratio being not very tall comparison to how wide it is. It's almost like a scroll or something like, it's beyond any sort of panoramic work that anybody would be working on normally because it's almost impossible to see the entire thing at once.
Yeah, I don't have I, the only proper way for me to document it is through video and through flying drones.
Yeah, we do
Um,
have a great, speaking of document, we have a documentary about this creation of this project also that we will be sure to link off to where you guys find this interview. Um, yeah, man, I think everybody should definitely go check this out. And we are definitely running a little bit over our time here, but Jolt, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you sitting down to talk with us. And all you guys out there watching, if you do appreciate what we're doing, Foothills Art Center continuously trying to provide digital content for you guys in these times where we can't be open to the public. Please do think about becoming a member or donating so that we can keep bringing this stuff to you guys until we get to reopen again. And trust me, we are just raring to go. I've got so many shows ready, so many artists that want to get on the walls, and it's going to be a really exciting summer into the fall. And yeah, so just stay tuned. And again, Jolt, thanks. If you want to wave goodbye to everybody, I'm going to kill the
yeah,
recording.
definitely. If anybody does go and see the mural, please feel free to take photos of it and tag me online and interact with me online. And please tell me your thoughts and share with me what you experienced. And I'm more than happy to share with what I'm working on, and just keep me in the loop of everything. And thank you for your time.
What's your social media real quick, Jolt, just so they know to.
Instagram is at Gorilla Garden, GUERILLAGARDEN. That's the best way to follow me. And I can also share some video from my last art show at Foothills.
Oh yeah.
And I have a lot of that content up on my Instagram as well. So
Okay. Awesome.
look forward to hearing from you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah. Thanks for being with us.
Take care.